So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up a printer on your computer. So I already have my printer set up on my home network. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go to Control Panel. Now there is a couple ways that you can get to Control Panel. One, as I've shown so far, is opening up File Explorer, hitting the caret, and then selecting Control Panel. The other way is then to just left click and hold on the control panel and drag to your desktop, and that'll create a link to Control Panel. I'm not going to do that since I already got one. So what you do is you're going to go to Hardware and Sound. Up here at the top you're going to hit Add a Device, and this is going to show you all the devices that are connected to your home network that you can generally add to your computer. So this can take a minute for it to go through. Just make sure my printer's going to actually show up. So I have a Epson XP640 printer, and there are some times when your computer's just not going to find your printer. That's just a fact of life here for technology. Technology is great until it doesn't work. So I'm going to hit cannot find, nope, go away, go away. So what I'm going to do is Advanced Printer Setup. So this is going to go through and just search and try and find all the devices. So this is a printer that I already have connected to my computer, so I'm not going to bother with that. And I will say this is more common than not, because as I was preparing for the video I went through to make sure that my printer was able to be found, and it was, and that was like 45 seconds ago. So I'm going to go through, we're going to try it again, because, you know, why not? Another way you can do it is you can click on here, and then it'll bring up all the devices you got plugged into your computer. So I got a couple here. So right down here is my Epson XP640 series printer. I'm going to double click on that, and then from here it doesn't really give you much information other than you can see, hey, what's in the queue for printing, or customize the printer. So I don't really need to do any of this because I already have the printer set up. But what I am going to do is go through, I'll head over to Google, new window, why did that start all the way over there? Alright, and then I'm going to go to epson.com. And from here, once it finishes loading, I'm going to select Support. We're going to go down to Printers. Get out of here. From here, oh my good lord. That's the annoying thing about add-ons on your browser, is they do that kind of thing. So, since I know what printer I have the XP640. And I'll slide down, select that guy, and then you'll notice that it shows a picture of your printer. So if this does not look like your printer, then you probably got the wrong one, and I would double check what printer you have. Now, the basic for it is just the drivers and utility combo pack. I recommend just downloading that for most printers, for the sheer fact of it gives you all the stuff you need, and it gives you the option to install some optional software if you want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download it. Now my printer's complaining. And then to automatically open it, what you're going to do is you're just going to double left click. That printer threw me off there for a second. Yes, I want to allow you to install. This file contains everything. Sure it does. So now it's just going to go through the initial setup and apparently go to my other screen. So I'm going to close this guy down. I don't need it anymore. And then this runs you through the license agreements. Obviously, if you don't agree to the license, you can't download the software, so that's cool. So for my printer, I have a couple things. This driver and utility allows it to get through the firewall. This guy right here allows me to print to CDs. This is for the scanning feature on the top. I don't need the user guide, And I definitely don't care about being part of a research thingamabob. So I'm going to deselect those, install, and my internet is kind of garbage, so I might have to skip ahead to when it's done here in a second, or just speed up the video. So this is going to be the next part of the setup. So from here, we're just going to follow this step by step. I have it connected wirelessly to my network, so I'm going to go the wireless connection. Let's see. Already on the wireless network. Hello, thank you. So now it's going to search on the wireless network for my printer. Yay, there we go, it found it. Like it should have. Yay, software. And you'll notice that it does put some junk on your desktop. Literally, all you have to do is left click, drag, and then this is the hard part. Oh, you stupid computer. Left click, drag, bam. Because I don't need that on my desktop. Now that does not uninstall anything. That just moves it to your recycle bin so that you can remove it later or delete it later. It'll still be available in your main start menu. So I don't need to print a test page. I already know my printer is working. I'm going to hit next. And firmware. Now this is an important thing. Firmware is the software on the printer that allows everything to happen. That allows communication from your computer to your printer. This allows for it to find updates. So with firmware, you want to make sure that when it's downloading to the printer, that you have constant power to everything. You don't want to do this if it's heavily raining outside and your power is flickering. Don't turn off your printer in the middle of a firmware. You will destroy your printer. Now, that being said, also, don't really worry about it because the firmware on printers downloads and goes so fast that it doesn't really matter. So now we're going to let it do its firmware thing. And this is pretty much the same with all printers that are consumer grade. So your HPs, your Canons, Brother, what have you. You can go to their website, you can download the drivers, and you might be able to actually hear the printer in the background. It is updating its firmware, so it may cut in and out over my voice. So honestly, keeping your printer up to date is probably as important as keeping your computer up to date. Now the next thing is with network printers and with them running wirelessly, you want to make sure that the printer is positioned in your house closer to the Wi-Fi than farther away. I mean, honestly. Limit the amount of walls in between. Reason being is walls, depending on their thickness, can actually cause the signal to get lost. Now, how is that? Well, there's metal in your walls. There's wires in your walls. So it creates what's called crosstalk. So that's when the communication wirelessly from the printer to the router interfere with, let's say, the electrical lines. So essentially it's like two cars hitting each other head on. Nothing good happens and it's always an accident. So, okay, I shouldn't say always. So then we're going to hit finish. You can set this up. I am really not bothered because I use email for everything. So Epson Email Print allows you to email from a mobile device or tablet directly to your printer. It gives your printer a specific email address. This is kind of nice for those who want to, let's say, send a picture that you took in Italy to your phone or to your printer in the United States or wherever you're at. You can email it directly to the printer. So long as the printer is on, it will print your photo and or document. Google Cloud Print. This is a good feature for those in school using Chromebooks. Also, it's nice when you have everything saved in Google Drive, like a lot of people do nowadays. I'm not bothered, and I'll set it up later. Or apparently I won't. So apparently I'm going to do that now. Okay. Now, the main thing that I can think of when when setting up your printer is if you have the availability to connect your printer directly to the network using what's called an Ethernet cable, then it's generally advised. That eliminates wireless signal, that eliminates people from seeing your printer that aren't connected to your network, and it gives a stable connection. So that's a cool thing. If you don't, yeah, okay, whatever. If you don't have the availability to do that, don't be worried. It's not a big deal. Wireless works just fine. I mean, it's kind of a standardized thing on printers now. So pretty much that's all the setup. Oh, good God, why are these so big? Yes, I have read the agreement. It all says the same thing, literally. Don't use it illegally. You're at fault if it breaks. And warranties are null and void for most things. So, yay! Next. So then you can go through and set up your Epson account or your HP account or whatever you want to do. I already did that, and I'm not going to put my details on the screen, so that's going to end this tutorial. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Go ahead and comment below if you have any questions, or maybe I jumped over something and maybe you need to know more. I do check the comments every day, and I will give you as much help as I can. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.